Kemet 101 by Dr. Perry Kepper-Kyles vividly explores the often misunderstood culture of ancient Egypt, debunking myths, including the Asiatic origin of Nile Valley civilizations. It is a must-read for those interested in ancient Egyptian or African history. To fully grasp the part 2 of the book, The Ancient Egypt in Global Context, here are some images included, along with the history behind them. The Her-Em-Akhet, popularly known as the Sphinx. The sculpture of Pepi II in the lap of his mother. This style emulates images of Heru in the lap of his mother Aahotep. The Rosetta Stone, created about 196 BCE and deciphered by Jean-François Champollion in 1822. The script at the top of the stone is Medtu Neter, the script in the middle is Demotic, and the script at the bottom is Greek. Deciphering Medtu Neter. Medtu Neter is read from the direction that the animals and people are facing. If the animals and people are facing the left, then you begin on the left and move towards the right. This writing system has ideographic symbols and phonetic symbols. Phonetic means that the symbols are all used to make a sound. For example, the loaf of bread is used to make the t sound. The hand is used to make the d sound. The chickling is used to make the hu sound. The staff is an ideograph for Metu, which is translated into speech. The symbol next to it is an ideograph for Neter, which translates as divinity. The lines to the far right is a classifier. This symbol clarifies that we are speaking in the plural. The phrase translates into writing the divine words. The charred wood to the far left means black or blackness. Its sound is cam or cam. Next, the owl is the phonetic sound m. The loaf of bread is used to make the t sound. At the bottom right is a crossroads. This determinative clarifies that we are speaking about a state or urban center. Sometimes it seems as though it's used to mean an urban center, and sometimes it's used to mean a state or state power. However, we know that the combination of symbols means Kemet, and what ensures that we know that is the crossroads as a determinative. The Shenu, sometimes called Kartuch. The encirclement above is called the Shenu. The Shenu is a spiritual tool. It is a protector for the individual whose name is written inside the Shenu. Due to the similarity of its shape to a bullet, Europeans began to call it a cartouche, which is the French word for bullet. The name inside the Shenu is none other than Ramses II or Ramsu. The first symbol to the left means Ra. The dot inside the symbol for Ra is the creator of all things. In African cosmology, all things originate from the creator. This area between the dot and the larger circle symbolizes all things in existence, which emanate from Ra, the creator. The next symbol to the right of Ra is foxtails. The corresponding sound for the foxtails is Mez, which means son of. Thus, Ramsu means son of God. Funerary stele of Wahank Intef II of the 11th dynasty. Intef II emerged as a leader during the first intermediate period. He reigned for 49 years, increased the stability of the country, and expanded the territory of the kingdom. At the Egyptian Museum at Cairo, Mentuhotep II. He ruled during the Middle Kingdom and reigned for 51 years. Intef and Mentuhotep came from the south. This is a recurring theme in Kemet. Narmer, who united the two lands, came from upstream, the south. Also, the leaders that brought about the new kingdom emerged from the southern stretches. The Edwin Smith Surgical Papyrus. Smith was a German. The Ebers Medical Papyrus. Ebers was an American. Contact between the two cultures began to occur as the Hyksos established themselves at Avares in the eastern part of the Delta. Avares became an administrative center during the time of the Hyksos rule. From the tomb of Khnumhotep at Beni Hassan, an image of the Hyksos, shepherd kings, immigration to Kemet. Here they come with animal life, suggestive of a pastoralist past, and the compound bow that they introduced into Kemet. Seqenenre Tao II was among the first leaders to lead armed campaigns against the Hyksos to reclaim the throne. Note the axe marks on the skull. He died in battle. The axe of Ahmose, which was buried with Queen Aahotep. Queen Aahotep lived to be 100 years old. In the middle of the axe is smiting, which is when the final blow is delivered to a prostrated enemy. It was common to depict kings that were successful in battle in the smiting position. The image shows Ahmose on his chariot fighting against the Hyksos. The statue portrays King Kemp Amet Matkah Hatshepsut, daughter of Thutmose I. The photo shows Hatshepsut's mortuary temple, Zasru, the most holiest and selective places. Depictions in this temple acknowledges her biological father, Thutmose I, and her spiritual father, Amen. Hatshepsut felt an affinity for Mentuhotep II, and her mortuary temple was built adjacent to his. The architectural style of her temple was influenced by Mentuhotep II. The King's List at Abydos, Upper Egypt. The King's List is one of the oldest and most reliable historical documents in existence. It is dedicated to Seti I. The image above depicts Seti I presenting his ancestors to his son Ramses II. Inside each Shinu is the name of the preceding kings from Narmer to Seti I. One of the ways we know the sequence of kings is by the King's List at Abydos. Seti I's Temple at Abydos. A depiction of Seti I wearing the Kepresh, war helmet, while holding up Ma'at. Temple to Ramses II at Abu Simbel. Ramses II's full name is User Mat Ra Sidip and Ra Ramesu Miriaman. User means you are in control, you have dominion. Mat Ra roughly translates into justice. Sedip and Ra means chosen by God. Ramesu means son of God. Miriaman means beloved by Amen, or beloved by God. The Temple of Luxor. The tall erect structure in the front of the temple is called a tekken. Today it is often referred to as an obelisk. Due to Westerners and their Egyptian allies, there are more tekkenu outside of Kemet than there are inside of Kemet. The temples at Luxor and Karnak were like universities. Various disciplines were learned, however spirituality and ethics were not excluded. An initiate would have learned the necessity of living in accord with Ma'at. Ramses portraying himself in the smiting position. Since the days of King Narmer, who united the two lands, other kings have featured themselves smiting enemies. Ramses II's military exploits took him beyond the borders of Kemet. However, Ramses II was not a conqueror per se. Ramses' military actions beyond the borders of Kemet were proactive approaches to protecting Kemet. The Shabaka Stone. The Shabaka Stone gets its name from the 25th Dynasty king named Shabaka. He had the remains of an old kingdom papyrus etched in stone to ensure the survival of the ancient document, which was a window into the past of Kemet. It is currently in the British Museum. On the left is the tekken, also known as an obelisk by Westerners, that was initially stolen away from Heliopolis by the Romans in the 1st century BCE and taken to Alexandria. It was eventually stolen by the United States in 1881. It has stood in Central Park in New York City since. On the right is the tekken, which was stolen away from the Luxor Temple in Luxor, Egypt, and has been in Paris, France since 1826. Tekkenu are spiritual symbols that are metaphors for the resurrection of Osar. Visit adpbookstore.com and check the Kemet 101, an introduction to ancient Egyptian history and culture. You can also read our classical book series, African Studies and Diaspora book series. Visit African Diaspora Press, an African worldview for an African world experience.